then his wife, and then his kids, right? Yo, champion! Thanks for the sub, dude. Alright, we're gonna try to beat this barcode Zerg. Again, we're gonna play Forge, but we're gonna stick to the same build. It might be difficult at this rank because Zerg start getting a little bit better, especially with their muta control, but we're gonna try to win anyways. We're gonna try to win with the cope build. Gotta be consistent with the streaming content. And I still feel like this build, it's a pretty good ladder build still, right? Like, even if it's not a great build to use against S-rank Zergs all the time, it's still a good ladder build. It's a good S-rank build if you just use it, like, every now and then. And for those of you who have not been keeping up with the series, it's basically a fast speed zealot rush with no Corsairs. It follows up with Templar Archives and Archons, and then really just kind of goes Dark Archon to deal with mutas. Oh shoot, I sent my probe down too fast. Oh well. Okay, it's slightly economically bad. I guess my brain fog still might be here. Dad brain, you know? I usually get my forge at 11. Slightly more economic. So this is certainly very unnecessary. Scout to see if there is a hatch first. That's an overpull. We were able to slightly delay. And generally speaking, against overpull, as long as your cannon starts before their oh. I can't believe I got that. Oh my god, he's so mad, dude. He's so mad. Oh my god, this guy's so mad. Okay, so we're just gonna get one cannon because we saw I only made 2 lings. Does anyone know when we make 2 cannons? It's pretty obvious, but 6 lings, yes. But in addition, if you want extra credit, 6 lings synergizes well with, 2 cannons versus 6 lings and a 3 gap wall. Sometimes on a 1 or a 1 gap wall, you can just pro block. 2 gap wall, I would still recommend 6 lings. But 2 gap wall, sometimes you can get away with, oh. Let's try to see where his base is. It's really important because we want to know where to send our speed zealots. Usually I like attacking the 3rd base of my speed zealot push. There it is. So that's actually going to work out really good for us, right? Why? Because that base is better for Zerg in the sense that if they get to the gas phase safely, then they what am I trying to say here? If they get there safely, then okay, lost that. That's not great, but they have another gas, right? However, at the same time, their hatchery is further away, right? So if they're facing a speed zealot push or something, then it's harder for them to defend against the speed zealots because, yeah, they're not next to it, right? So again, we're gonna bank up zealots. We're prioritizing workers because worker production is so important at this phase of the game. And we continue to make zealots to bank up for our push. We'll make leg upgrades. The only challenge here is that we don't actually know what they're doing because of the what am I trying to say here? The probe denial. So, to compensate, I'm just gonna make a secondary cannon. And again, the good part about this kind of build is the speed zealots come out pretty fast. So, because they come out pretty fast, it's pretty good against Hydra openers. Okay, because you already have a lot of units, right? So you're less likely to get busted by 973. So let's bank them up. We have Templar Archives on the way. I would start making a cannon. I would start making two. Oh, yeah, that is. The most important thing here is to just watch. If they dive, we move in, okay? If they dive, we move in. Ready? Ready? No dive? If they don't dive, we don't move in. So you have to be very careful. When you go back in macro, you really have to be very careful, okay? Don't dive in. It's a game of patience, okay? Okay, that's a lot of Hydras, holy smokes. I suspect this is just straight up a complete all-in here. I mean, it's gonna have to be, right? Until I get... He's gonna have to attack soon. go ahead and scout to see what's going on. Do you still want to be careful for, let's say, like a muta push here? So we're still gonna get a Maelstrom. Also, just be careful of, you know, any sort of kind of air surprises, right? I feel like we did a pretty decent amount of damage, so I feel like we could probably just power through in macro. That's going to be our game plan. Slowly start making some goons and anti-air, right? We'll make an extra pylon over there. We'll start making a pylon over here just so that we can start thinking about some expansions in a bit. And once we have a sufficient goon count, we're gonna go ahead and try to attack. Right. Now we have +2 weapons. Stick our sometimes they do that. Thing is, he did buy a lot of time with that. We did kill an entire group, which is nice. Start getting Templar energy upgrades. Some probes over here. See what we can get done. once all your kind of army dies off like that, don't overstay your welcome. Because we got some damage done, right? And we have our another base on the way, right? So we're in like a very good spot. So sometimes you can kind of just go in and trade. I didn't expect there to do a whole lot of damage, by the way. Reason being is like he did buy a fair amount of time, right? And now we have some more gases. Honestly, this guy's like pretty good. He's playing very well everywhere. Oh my god. Really? I can't believe I got caught out of position here. Oh my goodness. That's not good. Wow, that was actually a really good move by him. I'm actually very, very surprised. I can't believe he actually just, I can't believe he actually did that. That was actually, like, bravo. That's actually really good. Okay, so we're gonna amend our strategy here. And here's how we're gonna amend our strategy. Now we can't really play for, like, late game anymore. Okay, so the way we're gonna have to play this game is basically we're just gonna play we're just gonna try to ram him in with an all-in push at 12. Wow, I was very surprised by that, actually. I'm like very, I can't believe he actually somehow got there. Oh my goodness, dude! Where are all these units coming from? It's actually crazy. How is he doing that? We're just gonna focus on one gigantic attack. Oh my goodness, he's like just being really annoying. I just want to focus on my gigantic attack here, but he won't let me do it. Finally, man. This is pretty sweaty. Woo! Alright, sorry guys. I had to try a little bit harder to win that game. But basically, we just blocked the all-in, and then you kind of just had to play it safe, focusing on your fights. He took out my 4th base, but I decided to take 12, and one important thing to keep in mind is, well, let's kind of go over this actually really quickly. And this is just a general Brood War concept that I think, well, not really a Brood War concept, but it's just like a general RTS strategy that I feel like it's very simple and very obvious, and I feel like every matchup can benefit from this, and you know, in other RTSs as well, right? So like, the thing that went on in my head when he took out my base, right? Over here, I was so surprised that he even found an angle to get there. That was so crazy. Like this, like I barely missed his like little counter here. This is so risky from Zerg. You know why? Because if I have High Templars here, then the Zerg cannot back up and they'll lose 36 Hydras, right? And so this was a crazy risky play from Zerg, right? I'm really surprised they even opted to do that, right? So after you lose this base over here, effectively what happens is we have to change up our strategy, right? And what do I mean by that? The most important part is when you're on 3 bases, the 3rd base over here is pretty obvious. Or rather, you can actually take this one sometimes if you're against cross spawns. But the 4th base actually dictates the direction of, well, yeah, the direction of how you're going to approach the late game, okay? What do I mean by that? You can take this one, or you can take the 12 o'clock, right? I mean, unless you can take another main base. I think that's really stupid. That's never really a thing, unless you're sneaking it. But if you play this way, then you're basically telling the Zerg, your defensive stance is, you're telling the Zerg, I want to go into the late game, okay? Because you're going into a defensive stance and you're getting the base that's furthest away from your opponents, and you're relying on Zealots and High Templars to defend against this kind of thing, right? If you want to play a style that goes into the late game where I want to fight, I want to grind you down, I want to battle, then you would take 12 o'clock. Why? Because if you're constantly battling, you want to take the expansion that's in the same direction as your attack, right? So if you notice, I started bringing my units up this way, right? So over here, this is already guarding my 12 o'clock, right? And so I don't need to make as many defenses as I would over here, because over here I would get counterattacked, right? And so going for this kind of style, the change in my strategy was basically, okay, I'm going to play on 4 base and I'm going to trade. I have to trade. I cannot drag this game out for a very long time, right? And a couple of key pointers. Does anybody remember from my other streams, when does Protoss, or, you know, when do people, Protoss or Terran players, typically mine out of their main and natural? Pop quiz. We got any students in chat? All a bunch of slackers? All slackers, dude. 16 minutes? No, 15 minutes. You're a student until you ran out of money. Look at all these slackers. It's 16 minutes right now. Well, I guess he cheated because he saw this. So yeah, depending on the saturation, you would mine out at about 17 to 18 minutes, okay, for both of them, okay? I think 18 minutes is probably a little bit better or more accurate. This game was a little bit wonky because of like the super saturation I had to do because of the Hydra bust, right? So if you mine out of your main and natural at 18 minutes, right? That means if I have 4 bases up here, I'm only gonna be on 2 base mining, right? And again, if I'm on 2 bases, how many gateways can I support? Pop quiz. Slackers, you guys are all slackers, man. 41 on 2 bases will support about 8 gateways, right? Can maybe push to 9 or 10. But obviously I have more than 41 probes, right? We have like 55, 50, well, 53, 54, 55, right? So I can probably support like 10 gateways, but 10 gateways means I probably won't have money to tech very much, right? Or I probably won't have money to upgrade very much, right? So it's very, very thin, right? So the reason why, if you take the closer base, you have to fight. You must fight. You cannot stay back. It doesn't matter if they have Defiler, you know, Swarm, Plague, or anything. You have to fight. And that's why we fought. And we fought, and we fought, and we fought, and we fought. Right? We fought, we got value, we storm, right? We're trading, right? Constantly, non-stop. And we have to fight or else we lose. Because the clock is ticking. And in this kind of game, when you're in a dogfight mode, you have to win with Storm. You have to Storm really, really well, get good trades, get a death ball, reload, go back in, and then just fight. Storm micro? What do you mean by Storm micro? I would just say a lot of the Storm micro, I mean, it's pretty, there's nothing really significant about Storm micro, right? Except you're just kind of like putting, generally speaking, you want to put your Dragoons forward, right? Dragoon, High Templar forward, right? And it's really the Storm is, you basically just storm clumps, right? It's pretty intuitive. I'm not doing anything fancy with the kinds of storms. The most important thing as it pertains to storm is just making sure that you storm. You know what I mean? Like, and that's not trivial. You know, it's easier said than done to actually storm. So luckily we were able to win the game. We had good upgrades. We stormed well, we traded well, and you can get a lot done if you trade well. Also notice like random Dark Templars around the map can also just be good. Sometimes you could throw Dark Templars, like just not A move them, but move click them to a random 5th or 6th base from the Zerg. And a lot of times in hectic games, sometimes, you know, they won't have Overlords or they don't have Vision, and you know, it's just one of those small things that you can take advantage of. Yeah, just trade well. Just get good, you know? But, I mean, in that kind of game, honestly, it's, like, you know, that guy was definitely, like, S rank level. I don't know what it was. I couldn't talk very much because I was so focused on the game. And when you get forced into those kinds of games like that, it's good to have a general framework of what to do, but actually fighting in the late game it's really a lot of just mechanics, right? So Well, he went all in Hydra, so we couldn't really. We don't have that many options. And we have to actually hit S rank, so I can't just, past couple of days I've been playing pretty simulating lower ranking play, I might. Depends on what you guys want. What would be fun? You guys want a Zerg one? Maybe I'll do like a little like a poll or something. Damn, if Unadorned Box wants it, that we might just have to do it. We got the VIP talking, Wait, what map is? Oh, it's Radeon, and this is a PvP. Okay. All right. Hopefully we won't screw up our micro against 9-9 gate this game, like we did yesterday. Yesterday was such a disaster, man. I haven't played Zerg in forever, dude. Can I even hit S rank with Zerg? Yo, Dex, thank you for the bits, man. I'll probably play pretty copy with Zerg, honestly. Might actually hurt people. Well, Eskia, that's the point. So you guys could, learn. Okay. Cross spawns. Zealot is out. Looks like we have a similar build. We have a slight advantage here. Actually, more than a slight advantage, right? Because our opponents, I think our opponent went for like a gas search, so I don't think they, they have not gotten into our base yet. What? Well, at least we get to kill it. So he has more information than me, but at least I got to kill the probe. We'll go 1 gate Robo. So he did get to see my 3rd pylon, right? So he can rule out something like a 3 gate or something, even like a 2 gate or an immediate 2 gate, right? So he does have the informational advantage, but I do have at least 1 probe and he doesn't. Kind of throw it away over there. We're gonna keep our goons out here to deny information in case he does send another probe, although I find that to be pretty unlikely. Usually it's like with the same probe that they do these kinds of things. When do we send our probe back in, boys? You guys are horrible today, man. Nobody's listening. We send it in right now because we want to see if there's dragoons there. If there's dragoons there, that means it's not 2 gate. Right, it's not 2-gate, it's forward, okay. So what could this be? One problem is I didn't quite scout for his what am I trying to say? Range timing. That would have been nice. It might. This most likely is probably just a mirror play, right? Might. Also, given that it's given that it's cross spawns, I'm actually, let's just go ahead and make an expansion. Usually after like 5 goons. This is probably like more than fine, honestly. We'll make a Nexus. We'll keep the observer out there a little bit. Could be the same thing. Could be Nexus first. It certainly feels that way, right? We'll send the observer forward. Start making some scouter pylons. I wonder what that is. 3 gateways. It looks like 3 gateways. Against this, we just want to make sure we micro really well with our so it's target fire and then back up. Yep, exactly what he did. It was just basically a Nexus into 3-gate. Get our second gateway. We'll go speed upgrades. Looks like he's just going mass gateways. This is actually crazy. Can go out for an attack. Can go ahead and try to get some damage in. I don't know if we will necessarily get it. 4 gateways is also good to get. Try to see where his army is over here. Let's try to do like a little bit of a tricky deck play, where we try to get his attention up here, but then we go boom, headshot. Boom, headshot. Oh. Oh, God. Oh, no, I messed up. But you know what? That's okay, because we still got damage done there. We might like, he might be coming for like a giant counterattack. That's okay. And when you lose your stuff like that, you do want to go ahead and tech. I highly doubt this is ever gonna work from our opponent here. This is just basically like a rage all in. try to just... At what cost, boys? Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. He actually gonna... Oh my god, that was actually kind of scary. Guy has so much stuff. It's crazy. It's expanding. He has so much stuff, so he's making a third base. I really just want to go in for like a giant all-in. That's gonna be the game plan here. Oh, where's my Temple Archives? I didn't make Temple Archives? Oh, that's gonna hurt me. Oh. I don't know if my all-in is gonna quite be successful here. What happened? What happened? Dang, that's crazy. That actually is gonna really hurt. I have so much gas to spend too. Dang, if I... that actually might be game ending right there. I mean, I do have a Reaver, but I imagine they're probably gonna have Storm at this point. I mean, maybe I could still try. Just like bank up a bunch of like stuff now. Nah, it's so unfortunate, man. I really needed that. I feel like this is gonna be like so late. I don't think this is gonna work. Very unfortunate. Once this guy just like donks into me like this. It's unfortunate. I lost my timing. Time to Naga. Time to Naga. Alright, let's go over the replay. Time to Naga. I'm so sad I didn't make my Templar archives, but let's just kind of go analyze it from my perspective only, right? So here's what I'm really looking at and looking for, right? Looking for the third cannon, right? No, not third cannon, third pylon. Don't see it, right? Actually, let me answer BW Revival's question. Last time versus Nexus 3 gate, you canceled shuttle speed and went for scarab damage push. Any reason why you didn't do that this time? I think I remember. So the stuff that you watched earlier in the series was not and how do I put this? And this is kind of confusing for you guys, I'm sorry, but like I understand this is confusing for my viewers. But basically earlier in the stream, I must have been playing like C rank or B rank or, you know, probably C or B rank, right? And at those ranks, basically what I'm trying to show is focusing on making reasonable decisions and sticking to them, rather than just playing linearly and, you know, just without a game plan, so to speak, right? I wasn't necessarily trying to show the right or optimal answers. Does that make sense? Right? So it's a different paradigm of approaching the game. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times in Brood War, because the game is so deep, right? And the game is just so difficult. A lot of times, one pitfall that we get into is basically just like turning our brains off and, you know, just kind of deferring to pros or deferring to people who knew better, which is like good. Obviously, you want to learn from people who are better than you, but that doesn't mean that you should be without your own thought and your own reasons, right? Now, I don't encourage you to play like absolute donkey builds, right? I think that's just stupid. But like within the game, as you're following a general build order, I think it's important to have a decisive game plan. Okay. So back then when I went for kind of like a damage push against Nexus into Gateway, I think I recall they went 4 gateways, right? And that's a very, I would say that's a very copy build. That's not a real build. Right? Nobody ever does that. I mean, nobody good ever does that, right? That's just like a B rank special or like a foreigner special, right? And, you know, one way that you could punish that, or not really punish, but take advantage of that is go for like a massive Goon Reaver push and then just hope for the best, right? Now, it's also trying to demonstrate that, you know, if you micro your Reavers over really well, you could really overcome lots of Goon numbers, right? Even if they have like double your Goon count, if you micro your 2 Reavers, you could still win, right? That's not to say that that was the right answer. It's just to say, look, I made a decision and I went with it, And if I lose, then I lose, right? It's less about, oh, what a pro gamer do in this situation, right? Because I'm trying to emulate, like, look, like, what's a reasonable decision that a C ranker could make in that situation, right? Now, as we're playing in this A to S rank level, the amount of donkey builds, it starts to, you don't see, I mean, you still see some donkey play, but like when I saw this guy go Nexus 3 gate, I'm like, okay, that's a real build, right? Nexus 3 gate into Robo, but then it looks like he went for like 4 gate Robo, something weird, you know? So it turns out he actually was a donkey, but he cosplayed as not a donkey, right? So I think also because I thought, okay, he's an A rank, so like surely he won't do the donkey build. And so I basically gave him a little bit more respect. So, you know, I played on as normal, playing speed shuttles, right? I have to up my mechanics a little bit to win these games, right? It's not as simple as just like, oh, I'm just gonna do something suboptimal and then just still try to win, just because the players at this level are just better. So now on these games, you're gonna see me playing the same builds, but I'm gonna be responding more technically and how I would if I were trying to actually win, right? Whereas at C rank and B rank, it was a little bit less about technical correct answers and more about, oh, what's a reasonable choice? You know, whether it was right or wrong, right? And, you know, you saw me in some of those PBTs, like I just decided, oh, I'm just gonna 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, even though I wouldn't do that in a real game, right? But I'm just trying to say, like, look, like, it's a reasonable choice. And I think sometimes it's important to know that, like, you shouldn't be so self-conscious about doing the right thing all the time. I would say you should be more focused on doing reasonable things and then learning from them. That's a better way to put it. Does that make sense? Right? Like, I think if you defer too much to pro gamers and stuff, unless you're like really studious and you're like really into it, right? You don't really develop your own sense of like gameplay and such. So, what about stability? Why are there players who consistently play great, but most of the rest are unstable? I can play well, but lose 2/3 of the time to players below the level. This happens over and over, no matter how much I learn and adding to my knowledge and experience base. Well, I think that if you're not, a good way to think about skill level is your consistency, right? And I think that rings true in life in general. You know, it's like, I rate a restaurant by how well they execute on their dishes, you know, over a period of time. You know, it's like if you go to a restaurant and they serve you spaghetti and that spaghetti's really good once, but then like 4 other times, like it's, you know, soggy or overdone or something like that. Like, you know, is it actually a good restaurant? No, not really. Like, it's like you don't really rate somebody based on how well they can do at their best. I would actually rate someone based on how well they can do most of the time, you know? So, the reason why you're not stable is because your real skill level is, you know, not at your best, but really, you know, I don't know. I think that's a good way to think about leveling up. And actually, like, if I were like coaching people, the way I would improve is to plug in those holes for when you're losing, right? Especially losing to silly things. And you actually, that's actually the best way to actually improve at this game, okay? If you feel like you're a very high variance player, try to look at the silliest ways that you're losing and then try to address those. You know what I mean? Like, don't approach the game like, oh, I want to raise the ceiling on the best, you know, the best possible way I can play, right? Instead, improve by raising the floor, like raising your worst days or raising like you know, when you lose the silly things, right? Maybe it's mechanical things, or maybe you're weak to certain cheeses, or maybe you find that you play greedy too often, or maybe you find that you know, cheese too much. I don't know, right? So, like, it's sometimes it's not just about knowledge, it's just about focusing, you know, on combat, right? Stargate timing for S players is consistent. So my first Corsair produced not in time to C973, for example. Well, I mean, if you can't get your Stargate and Corsair on time, then there's something fundamentally wrong with your build, right? I mean, like, that's just basic stuff. It's like eating your veggies, you know? Anyways. Let's kind of walk through this game because I wasn't talking very much. Alright, so because I didn't see any additional information, and sometimes you can see additional information before your probe goes out the base, what can they do, right? Let's just kind of map this out, right? Well, they could throw down a Citadel, right? They can throw down a Robo. They can immediately go for a Nexus. They could go for another gateway, 21 gateway, 2 gate, or they can go for a 3 gate, 21 3 gates, right? There's not much else they can really do there, right? And so you want to kind of think in your head, like, which of these builds are they doing? 2 gate, 3 gate, Nexus, Robo, or Citadel, right? There's like 5 of them. And you basically want to narrow down what those choices are. Okay, I'm playing 1 gate Robo, right? And I'm trying to narrow down on those choices, right? And so I put my probe away, and I bring my probe back in at around 445, right? And the reason for that is if they were going for a 2 gate, let's go back there. If they were going for a 2 gate, their 4 goons and a zealot would be marching across the map right now. Okay, or not right now, but like in, let me go a little bit further. They'll be en route to my base right now. Okay, because a 2 gate, 1021 gate that is, needs to pressure, right? And a 1021 gate will try to contain a 1 gate play, and then expand and then play on. So they get their advantage by having 1 more goon faster, and then containing a 1 gate Robo, and then getting a Nexus and then playing on. Okay. So, if my probe goes in, and I see the goons there, we rule out 2 gate. It could still be a 3 gate, because 3 gate comes a little bit later with 7 goons, right? This could be 1 gate Robo. This gets to be a Citadel. This could be a Nexus, right? But it cannot be a 2 gate. It cannot be a 1021 2 gate, okay? So now we've ruled that out. So now that we've ruled out 2 gate, what does that mean? I don't have to move my goons back up my ramp. I don't have to be as careful anymore. I could consider making a Nexus faster, because then I wouldn't have to worry about, you know, a goon push, right? My Observer's going to come out because I still need to consider the Dark Templar, right? But we at least know. I mean, look at this. Actually, I should have noticed this. I didn't notice this, but now I noticed this in the replay. Why does he only have 2 goons? See, I only have 1 gate. We know he has at least 1 gate, and I've been producing from 1 gate the entire time. What could he possibly be making that, you know, what build could he possibly be doing where he doesn't make, you know, 3 goons? If I watched closely, I would have known. This must be a Nexus, right? That said, well, let's see. Maybe that goon was just not actually there. No, it wasn't. Yeah. Well, let's see. Hold on. Well, it looks like the goon just got there. So if I sent my probe in, I would have seen it's only 2 goons. But it looks like the 3rd goon just got out there, right? But yeah, I mean, this smells a lot like a Nexus or a Citadel for sure, right? What if he's hiding goons while 4-gating and faking his exfil? That's fine. We're comfortable with 4 gates because 4 gate is mega all in. If he goes 4 gate, then you just go back up your ramp, right? 3 gate or 4 gates are pretty all in. So we're not really worried about that, right? Now we're worried about that in the sense of like not dying to it, but you are correct that they still could be going for a 3 gate or a 4 gate, right? So that's why my probe is constantly just kind of patrolling this area. Because if they were going DT expand, most likely their goons would just be here. If they were going 1 gate Nexus, 3 gates, they would still be staying back, right? Because think about it, right? If my opponent is going for this Nexus, what is my opponent worried about? What if I went 2 gate, right? 2 gateways, I would have 4 goons and sell it at his base, and he would just GG out and it's over, right? If I go 3 gate, he GG's out and it's over, right? So why on earth would his units be out on the middle of the map if he has a Nexus when I could be going 2 gate, 3 gate, 4 gate, right? So therefore, if I just kind of move my probe around in this map for scouting information, right? I can reasonably tell that it's not a 3 gate, right? Because a 3 gate would have been here by now, right? Is he just banking up with 4 gates? I mean, that's really donkey. That's so donkey, right? That's so donkey. But if it is, then you just go back up your ramp and hope you don't get caught going up there, right? But then you should be able to beat it. So what do we think now? So at this point, I'm reasonably certain that we are up against not DT anymore, because then our observer was all the way out here. It could still be like Templar tech with no DT or like DT somewhere else, right? But most likely this is 1 gate Robo or 1 gate Nexus into 3 gates. So indeed we find that out. Usually if it's 1 gate Robo, you'll run into their observer as well, right? So he's sending his units, which means like that. Did you guys see the goon count there? He has like one good benchmark you can use for your head is I've been making goons virtually nonstop in I5. Maybe I kind of like stopped for a little bit, right? But he had at least 6, 7, or 8, right? Which means he must have 2, 3, 4 gateways, right? But it's not a 3 gate because it would have came here about a minute ago, right? So this must be a Nexus into goons, right? Nexus into gateways, and then they sometimes try to like dive in and like try to snipe your goon there. So this is a very popular build. It obviously dies immediately to a lot of things. It's very risky. This is good against my opener, right? However, we're gonna go back in and scout to see his timing. Usually they make a robo much faster, but again, this is very donkey play. Like they're just like massing goons. If I went for a DT at all, they just absolutely lose. It's just very, very donkey, you know? And so you could try to basically gain value, you know, with your Robo Reaver, you know? I opted to go for a Shuttle Reaver, kind of like, you know, like over there, come over here. And honestly, I botched my micro, but I should have been able to, you know, I should have been able to move that back there, right? And if I kept that alive, this game is way over, right? Way over. But because I lost my Reaver, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go back, make sure I don't die to a counter push, right? Losing 2 Reavers in a shuttle is really huge. So like, I wouldn't say that I think I'm ahead, but at the same time, that was very expensive. The reason why I opted to go for Citadel and Forge, and usually if you go Citadel Forge, right? I'm sorry, if you go Citadel, you want to synergize that with the Forge. Usually that's the case for even PvT or lots of different matchups, right? This indicates that you're moving on to the next phase of the game, right? You're moving on from this Goon Reaver stage, right? Sometimes, some kind of dogfighty games, you can just stay Goon Reaver for the entire game. But because I lost my initial shuttle, Reaver, I think it is wise for me to just move on to that next stage, right? Kind of concede that Goon Reaver business and then try to move on to Citadel Forge, right? Okay, so got a little bit of value there. Obviously, our, you know, I saw the Nexus. So let's kind of reason through this, right? I mean, I lost that Reaver, that wasn't great, but at least I traded okay, right? We see our opponent getting Nexus, but we at least popped 10 probes, right? Maybe even more, 12 probes, right? So how is it possible that this player is massing goons? He has a lot of goons, remaking their probes, getting Templar tech, and getting a Nexus, right? So at this point, my decision tree went to, okay, I'm gonna go for a 2-base all-in. Well, maybe not all-in, but like a huge 2-base push, okay? And then I'm gonna throw it on 8 gateways, because obviously I can afford it. And then I'm gonna go, whenever you go for an aggressive push, you don't wanna get Templars. Templars is more, I'm gonna play late game, I'm gonna expand, right? Massing Archons is actually one of the best ways to play if you want to go for a timing, right? So that's why I went for my 8 gateways, got my +1 on the way, but unfortunately I forgot to make my Templar Archives. It's crazy, right? If that made, honestly, this game would have been so much easier, but it didn't, so we live with the results. And then behind this push, you can go ahead and make a 3rd base to basically punish our opponent for just making a 3rd base that fast. Unfortunately, he went out and I didn't actually fight as well as I could have. Does Zealot Storm Archon beat Green Reaver for comparable skill and resources? Think of it this way. Reaver is the highest skill unit in the game. So if you could use it, then do it. But it's hard. So like theoretically, Reaver beats everything. I mean, for everything that shoots ground. Like it's better than Storm, it's better than Archon, it's better than siege tanks, it's better than literally like if there were like a tier list, the Reaver would just be, well, I guess Reaver paired with the shuttle, I guess that's cheating, but like the Reaver beats anything. It's just human limitations that make it not so good, right? So I would say that Zealot Archon, you know, it's just a very easy way to play because, you know, your units just do a lot of damage by themselves. So, you know. Is there an arbitrary metric of attack at 140? No. I think, like, as it comes to attacking and, you know, generally speaking, it's, I think, like, supplies are good benchmarks as you're following builds because it helps you to, you have something to compare against, right? But supply-based timings are really not the greatest as you're trying to learn. I mean, it's hard, right? Because sometimes your brain goes towards like hitting that number, when in reality, you should. How do I explain the concept behind it, right? It's less so. It's like, for example, how did I know when to attack, right? That's the root of the question, right? Where I was going for this 2-base timing, right? When to attack is when I felt like my army had the right composition, right? That is relative to the build that I was doing, right? So what does that mean, right? And this is kind of like the esoteric, you know, thing that Askia keeps talking about, right? And these are kind of the implicit things, right? As I'm making a bunch of speed zealots, what happens? I bank up gas, right? But Archons are very good units, right? So therefore, if I make a bunch of speed zealots, I have a lot of gas. And then if I spend all my gas, let's say I have, 1,000 or something, I go ahead and make, a few, and I try to make 3 Archons, right? And I spend all my gas, right? That's a good timing to go and attack, right? Because for every incremental second, right, think about it. Like when you're going for the Archon attack and your opponent doesn't have Archons, you're basically trying to hit a timing for when you can make those Archons and your opponent has difficulty making those Archons, right? My opponent is in a defensive Storm situation, whereas I'm on an offensive Archon situation, right? But if I'm on 2 base and he made his 3rd base, he has 3 gas, I have 2, right? If I spend all my gas, what's the point of like waiting for more Archons incrementally? No, that doesn't make any sense, right? So use your bank, right, to your advantage, make those Archons, and then you go, right? So again, it's not about like, oh, 140, 150, 160 supply, right? Those are good like benchmarks if you're following a build, right? But like, it's more just do what you feel is reasonable, right? You spend your gas. You don't want them to outproduce gas, you know, for you, right? And so you kind of like think about this break point, so to speak, right? Because the longer the game goes, their economy is going to kick in and then you're going to lose your kind of timing window, right? And that's just kind of like a general concept, right? If you're trying to hit a timing where they expand and you're making units, you have this small window because they have an upfront cost of making the Nexus. Then they're making a cannon, a gas, they're making more workers, right? So they're investing in the future, whereas you're investing in the now, right? And so again, there's like this window by which you must attack before that future comes, because then they'll just match all of your investments, so to speak, right? And so that's kind of like the way you want to think about these things, right? These timings could work just pure, you know, economically, but I would say the Zealot Archon timing is really effective just because like usually if you're making a bunch of Zealots, you have gas. And then if you have gas, then, you know, like usually your opponent is making Storms because they're in a defensive situation, right? So that's basically kind of like the esoteric knowledge, so to speak, that I'm using here. So, okay, Zen says, what's your mindset if you, hypothetically, you and your opponent mirrored builds? Oh yeah, that's a great question, right? If, I would say, if you're playing 1-gate Robo, right? There's 2 ways to play 1-gate Robo. Well, there's multiple ways to play 1-gate Robo. 1-gate Robo is one of the most flexible builds, right? So let's kind of move backwards and say, what if my opponent did the same exact thing, right? That's the question, right? How you want to approach 1-gate Robo is, well, one, you're just playing, right? Like you kind of turn off this kind of mindset of like, oh, they did this, so I'm going to counter this, or oh, am I ahead or am I behind, right? It's like, no, if you're doing the same thing, you just play, right? The way you want to play and think about 1-gate Robo is your goon count's going to be the same, right? So you can either go for a goon timing with 2 Reavers, right? Or you can even come with the 1 Reaver, you know, who knows, right? Like you have the same number of units, right? So I mean, like, there isn't really a right answer. I think you have a lot of different tools tactically, right? You can go for, like, a goon, Reaver play, right, with 1 Reaver, or you can wait for 2 Reavers, right? Again, your opponent's going to have the same units, theoretically, right? And so it really just kind of just depends on your playstyle. Like if you want to be more aggressive, if you're confident in your micro, then you know maybe you just move out and attack with a 1 Reaver, 2 Reavers, right? If you find yourself to be more of a macro oriented player, you don't have to go for a timing. You can anticipate your opponent's timing. So you could just play defensively with your Reavers and then spread out your goons for any sort of drops, right? Maybe you're a multitasking player, so you go for speed shuttles, right? And then with speed shuttles, you kind of do like this tricky dick move where you like, you know, you move up front with your goons, you know, and then you drop them over here, you drop them over there, you run away, right? You can even go on a kamikaze mission where you just like throw your Reaver into their main base and try to kill like 7 probes, right? There's so many ways to play it. And I think it really just depends on the playstyle that suits you, right? It's totally fine to play 1-gate Robo, play defensively, make probes, and then just go into Citadel Forge. And then you just move on to Templar Tech. Just play super defensively. That's okay. Just don't die to a 2 Reaver push though. So like don't never rush too fast into Citadel Forge. Make sure you always get your 4 gateways first, and make sure you just make a lot of goons. Like don't underestimate the power of a 2 Reaver push. Like even if you're playing defensively, just I don't know, make like 20 goons or something before you start thinking about going into Citadel Forge. And then if you want to go Citadel Forge right away, then you could just go make probes nonstop. Maybe you get your second gas a little bit sooner, right? So these small adjustments will give you the advantage moving into the next game. All right, let's play the next game. That was a long session of just yapping. I played like 1 game or something. I do play poker actually. That's my other hobby in the past 3-4 months actually. I've actually been really enjoying poker. Spelling. PBT. Any poker players in here? The reason why I wanted to start playing poker is because Brood War breaks my shoulders and my arms. So I wanted to play like an intelligent and like competitive game that doesn't, you know, break me, sadly. But I really enjoy poker too. It's similar to Brood War in many ways because it's a very simple game, but the depths of strategy is so deep. It's so deep and it's so amazing, and I absolutely love it. It just doesn't, you know, and it also just doesn't regress my arm and my shoulder. That's already really bad. For those of you guys who don't know, like because of gaming and just like, and I work on a computer all day, you know, I go to like my massage therapist and he's like, bro, like, he's like, bro, your back and your shoulders are like a 60-year-old's, no joke. And I believe it. He wasn't even like joking, you know. It's so stiff because I've been playing Brood War all my life and like I'm just a computer nerd, you know. My shoulders kind of like roll over just because they've just been doing that all my life. It's just really bad, so I just have to like stretch a lot, work out and stuff. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, I just need to work out and stretch and stuff, you know, because as you get to like my age and stuff, your muscles start to atrophy, and when they atrophy, like other muscles around it start to kind of compensate and stuff, and it's just not good. So played box. Oh really? That's cool, man. I'm not a tournament gamer though. I'm not that good at poker. I'm just learning. I'm also a cash game player. I don't really play tournaments. I also don't like online poker as well. I like just going to the actual table, and I like the competition of just like seeing people, seeing the same faces. I don't like playing online. It's not the same thing to me. But I'm not very good. Snatching IRL, yeah. Basically. No, it's just Texas Hold'em. I don't play anything like yeah, honestly, like I just love I love competition, man. Like I'm just built for it. Like I can't ever live in a world where I don't like compete. But the problem with gaming is that it's just so bad for me, you know? Like it just regresses my arm and my like it just makes my body just break down. So I'll like play it obviously, but I'm not gonna compete or try to like really take it seriously anymore. fit for strategy? Well, it's the same thing. I mean, cash is the same thing. Like, Oh! The only difference between cash is, cash and tournament is just like there's more phases in tournaments, right? Where you have to play, you have to learn, you just have to learn more stuff, as it pertains to like stack depths and stuff, you know, like, obviously as you go deeper into a tournament, then like, your strategy alters based off of, like how many chips you have, right? Whereas cash games, you always start off with the same amount. It's like a defined amount. So basically, tournaments kind of, what's like a good Brood War analogy, right? Like, tournaments kind of, you kind of have to, it's like learning another map, you know? It's like learning how to play on like other maps a little, slightly, you know? It's not as, whereas cash game, it's kind of like you're playing on polypoid over and over, you know what I mean? Like, maybe not literally polypoid over and over, but it's a little more, you know, stable, so to speak. So I would say tournament does have more strategy, but I'd say like my mental or my intellectual itch gets very satisfied when I play cash games, just because like the combinations of strategy are completely dependent on your opponent, and I actually, that's the thing I love the most about poker, is there's an infinite number of like permutations and strategies you employ based off the based off your opponents and the makeup of your opponents in your table, right? So like every table of like 8 or 9 players is always different, right? Right, it's like playing, you know, in Brood War it's one-on-one, so you can kind of like adapt to one player at a time, right? But at poker, it's like you're playing simultaneously against like 8 or 9 players at a time, so it's like you have to adapt based on that, so. Wait, do I not have range? Oh, I do. Oh. Our opponent is playing very knowing that, what is this, 5 factories, interesting. Interesting decision for him to go 5 factories like that. So our response is we won't, we'll counter this with more gateways of our own. So I was gonna make another base. But now I'm gonna focus on making workers because our opponent is opting to play this aggressively. Or is he though? Actually, maybe not. Maybe he's just playing this Maybe he's just expanding off of that. Yeah, okay, he is just expanding. Which means we can go ahead and just expand ourselves. But you guys see, like, you do want to react to what they were doing, right? Like, see, like, he threw down a bunch of units, right? So, I mean, gateways, right? So you want to react accordingly and throw down gateways to match it. So that's kind of the logic of what I was up to there. And if they indeed expands, then you can move on with your build. So right around now, we should have the adequate number of workers. I mean, I like making observer speed. We also should make cannon. I think his starport's probably done. Yep. Did they actually go for maybe actually went for a quick 4 base? That'd actually be crazy. Nope, doesn't quite look like it. Looks like he's thinking about it though, or he wants to. Very good play from him. Because I'm not going for a bus timing, might actually just go ahead and like get another gas over here. Maybe we can even try to... Is he actually gonna punish me? Oh, that's actually a really good move if he can get this going there, but we're not gonna let him get that. Can't get caught with our pants down. He's trying to catch me riding dirty, dude. You guys saw that? He's trying to catch me riding dirty, dude. Yeah, that was actually kind of scary. Oh, well, never mind. I thought I got a... I thought I got EMP'd there. Because he's going for like 4 bases like this, We don't really have to worry too much about a move out until 3-2. So what I want to do is actually like try to go for a recall based play. And then when I like to recall, I do enjoy going more for what am I trying to say? More to actually bomb their mineral lines. So you just gotta make sure they're not actually coming out, but I don't imagine he can actually come out until like at least 15 minutes when he has 3-2. And when you have recall, I would just go ahead and just bomb it with zealots right down there. So let's just try that. And again, I'm making a bunch of gateways because of a, you know, just gateway farm. Let's see if I can actually get in here. There it is. And this is just very frustrating. Boom! Headshot! Can even start like preparing for a carrier switch. And maybe even just like try to go for another recall, right? That was pretty sexy. And then we just slowly start taking all the other bases. A good rule of thumb is 4 cannons should basically stop any sort. Oh, I don't have gas for it. Any sort of vulture harass. So it looks like he might actually be wanting to move out again. So we might actually want to play this like kind of a tricky dicky. Maybe we'll do another one of these recalls to maybe like bump him in and then kind of force him into like a difficult situation here. See, so what is his choice here? Looks like he just wants to push. Let's see if we could actually fight. Can we? I don't know. So look, he actually took like a pretty bad fight. Keep that away. No need to actually fight yet. Until we remax, right? We remax really fast. See if we can actually go in now. Remake goons, right? Because we just lost a bunch of goons. And I think we did it. Boom! Headshot! Keep going for carrier upgrades. Because why not? And carrier upgrade should basically be the nail in the coffin here. So I don't imagine they will be able to So I notice how I do have my goons back, right? And the goons allow me to reclaim my map control. So you basically deny any opportunity for them to kind of take out stuff. I'm gonna go out for another push here, so why not? Got this base. Obviously has something over there. Make goons again. Interesting decision. Looks like he wants to just like trap me or something. We are missing some detection, right? So I'm a little bit worried. So let's just like make sure we don't throw this lead away. But, you know, I highly doubt he'll be able to come back from this kind of game. So we'll like, this isn't like a super fast carrier switch, but, you know. Looks like he's not really moving out anywhere. Oh, there he is. It's kind of crazy that he keeps moving out like this. He doesn't even have that many, like... Oh, that's not a good attack. Let's back up. Need some more goons, right? And sometimes when they like move forward too fast like that, you can kind of just catch them out of position. Time is not on his side because I have carriers and he's probably freaking out. But again, we're gonna remake goons because why not? He has to expand at 9 o'clock, right? Catch up with his pants down. Can I do it? Can I do it? Oh, let's not lose all the goons. Remake the goons. Now we have carriers. Herd carriers are pretty good. Let's see if I can actually cut off any sort of reinforcements, because we know they don't have any anti-air, right? It's gonna be his absolute nightmare. Can't even move forward, right? Oh. GG. We win. Multiple shield batteries in chat. What's going on, guys? Do I need to scold some guys in the chat here, man? What's going on, man? I have a running debate on Christmas movies. Honestly, I don't watch any movies. I'm terrible. This is why I suck. Okay, let's recap. Recap a little bit. Also, my chat box doesn't appear on my stream, huh? Oh, there it is. Whoops. I think people on YouTube are gonna be like, "Who are you talking to, man?" Imagine if I like made a stream that I uploaded on YouTube, and I was like acting like I'm interacting with a bunch of people, and you know, like, hey there, Bob, yeah, what's up, man? Thanks for 25 months sub, thank you, dude. You know. But let's recap there. Let's recap. In that game, that was a very textbook kind of PvT. Very, very textbook kind of play. You know, I think I executed pretty well. I think I was just better than him, right? But he played, you know, decently well, strategically and stuff. But basically, as you play arbiters, if nothing happens in the game and you're macroing really well and you feel really good about macroing, then, you know, a bus timing is pretty good. You know, you can try to like max out 11:30ish if you're on top of your build. And that's kind of just like, you just, you know, throw your army in, see if it works. With experience, you will learn that if you're playing against an equally skilled Terran player, if they open Rax Expand, their macro is going to be too strong for a bus timing to actually work. But if they open Factory Expand, they should be able to hold the bus timing, but it's still, you know, variable, depends on how the fights go. And that's kind of like the baseline, right? But it depends on how the game goes. Right? Like, let's say you got an advantage, or let's say, you know, they tried to do some sort of quick timing that completely failed, or they went for a vulture drop and they didn't, you know, like, you know, that also failed, right? So if you kind of like think about those little things, we're like, okay, my macro is perfect and clean, but they attempted X, Y, and Z, they failed, so I'm ahead. And if I'm ahead, my bus timing, all things equal, should actually be stronger. It should have a stronger chance of working. And so you kind of have to like adjust the percentages in your head and then adjust accordingly. Right? So if you took damage early on, then you shouldn't go for a bus timing, because you already know bus timings are going to be thin anyways. So if it's thin and you're behind, then you shouldn't go for it, right? So that's kind of like an adjustment you should make. Some players said that going recall is not a viable strategy versus a higher level Terran because they defend more reliably. Yeah, I would say there's certainly... I mean, I wouldn't say it's non-viable. I would just say it's... how do I put it? It's like at best you'll be at a 40%. You know? And so if you're like, you know, is it 40% viable? Yeah. You know, but at a certain point in your progression, you're going to start to see like, gee, it feels bad being at 40% all the time against Terrans, you know, like, it's just it's just hard. Now, that's not to say recalls are not, like, Arbiter recalls not, like, good at all, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, if you play it all the time, right, it's not that good. I wish I could see, like, Zen's face when he sees this. You gotta love the, I mean, okay, like, does anyone know why recall isn't as good at the higher levels, like, from a theory crafting standpoint? It's not that recall's bad, but I would say that in Brood War's design, there are units that have caps and limits to their value, right? Based on the player's excellence, right? So it's a ceiling. And the ceiling for an Arbiter is relatively low. You know, it's a very straightforward unit, right? There's no skill as it pertains to an Arbiter, really. You know what I mean? It's a very straightforward. There's no micro. You don't do much of anything. Like, sure, you could, you know, do things, but from Terran's standpoint, like, every Terran unit has a skill ceiling, like a very high skill ceiling, right? So theoretically speaking, if the Terran just gets better, then the value of the Arbiter declines, like, you know, 1-for-1, basically, right? Like, as the Terran gets better and better and better, the value of the Arbiter goes down, 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 right? And so this is an interesting concept, right? Because this is why you see the vast majority of, not vast majority, but you see the highest density of Protoss players on ladder at the lower ranks, right? Why? Because, or I mean, even just like up to S, right? I just see so many Protoss players, right? Because Protoss units are stronger, but capped. They're more capped, right? So that means that they get more value per level, you know, like, they get the most value for the least amount of attention allocated to it, right? And that makes sense, right? And you can see that statistically happening after 25 years, that, like, ladder is filled with 40% Protoss players because their units gain value really easily without as much mastery, so to speak, right? But as the mastery starts to increase from the Zerg side or from the Terran side, then the relative value of the Protoss units slowly starts to go down, right? Which makes the Protoss players struggle to, like, you're not going to see a 40% distribution of Protoss players as you go up past S rank and on, right? That's stupid. And then as you go all the way up to the pro levels, right? Protoss has always and historically had the worst win rates from, like, you know, a pro level, you know, the pro scene, or the number of champions that we have, right? So basically, you know, that's just the phenomenon of the game design, right? Protoss is the weakest race at the highest levels. And that's just a fact, you know? I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say it's like that's the sole reason why they're losing, you know? I mean, it's obviously the players and stuff too, but like, they are the weakest race, and in order to catch up to the other races, you then have to be the strongest, so to speak, you know? So in a weird way, At the lower levels, Protoss units function the easiest, but at the highest levels, Protoss units are the hardest. Like, the Protoss mechanics are the hardest out of all matchups, all races. Contrary to what you might hear from, you know, Terran players and stuff, but ladder doesn't matter though. Nobody cares about ladder. Like at the top. When I say like top, I mean like ASL and stuff. So Terran has a high skill ceiling, but I would say Protoss has an even higher skill ceiling because their units are relatively weaker at the higher levels. So that makes the mountain to climb for Terran Protoss players even higher. Does that make sense? Like, you know what I mean? Does that make sense, guys? Like, Terran has the highest skill ceiling units, generally speaking. But because they have the highest skill ceiling units, that means Protoss has to work even higher to overcome those high scaling units, which makes Protoss units the most high ceiling units. Does that make sense? Right? That's what happens, right? Like it's just it's crazy. So. There's a correlation between talent and the ability to recognize which race is the strongest. Would not surprise me, pros are actually the dumbest in these skilled. That is certainly not true at the highest levels. You can burrow lurkers and do nothing. Siege and do nothing. I used to be a Zerg player. Would I ever change race? No. I mean, I'm not, as I was saying earlier, I'm not gonna like play Brood War seriously anymore. I mean, I play all the races like decently well, but I'm not gonna seriously learn Terran or Zerg or something. Protoss players, man. Okay, but I will say this though. I will say this as a plausible theory as to why Protoss players struggle at the most, at the highest ranks, right? And this is like the great, you know, the great dumb Protoss theory to kind of give it to Artosis, you know, you give it to the Terran players, right? And I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna talk down on my own race, okay? And I think there is some truth to what I'm about to say, right? Protoss players, like for example, Terran players have to, at every stage of development as you get better and better at Terran is forced to be mechanically excellent at every possible stage of their lives, right? And so that's why they're always mad all the time, you know? Whereas Protoss players at lower levels, right? You can get away with not proactively practicing your mechanics as deeply. You know what I mean? Like Protoss players don't have to, you know, like let's say in PvT, you know that build I'm doing, this Arbiter build? It's a very auto bot focused build. I'm not really practicing that many mechanics outside of just like macroing better, right? I'm not really getting better at a lot of very high skill ceiling things. I just keep playing over and over. I make, you know, workers, I make units, I make Arbiter, I go 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, I macro, I micro, right? I'm not doing anything that's high skill ceiling by playing that style. so to speak, right? So relatively, the Protoss players at like the lower levels are not increasing and improving their mechanical excellence, so to speak, at the same rate at which Terran players are, right? Because Terran players, you just have to be mechanically excellent, you know? And so that's why, like, that could be one reason as to why, you know, Terran and Zerg players, like, overtake Protoss players on average at the highest levels. Because, like, at every stage, they're always practicing high skill ceiling mechanics, whereas Protoss players, like, only when you get to a certain level are you forced to play high skill ceiling mechanics. And so, like, the relative hours of practice, like, not the total number of practice, but the I guess like efficient hours of practice, I would say like Terran players probably have played more, right? Another kind of reasonable hypothesis is TVT is a very long matchup, whereas like ZVZ and PvP tend to be shorter matchups. So like on average, Terran players are just like on a per game basis, they play more. You know what I mean? Like, whereas in ZVZ, like games might end in a few minutes, PvP might end in like 10 minutes, right? Terran players are just like, they're just playing more, right? Like if I had to play 10 games a day and my friend had to play 10 games a day, my 10 games as a Zerg player are a lot different than 10 games as a Terran player, right? So like, it's not one for one, right? Because they're playing longer and they're probably going into late game macro situations a lot longer, so they're in effect practicing more mechanics than the other races. So that could be like a reasonable theory as to why Terran players, you know, like tend to be the best at the best levels because they're practicing high skill ceiling mechanics all throughout their journey. That kind of changes these days with Protoss players now learning Reaver and Speed Shuttle style. So, you know, I think maybe if Protoss players were always playing Reaver Speed Shuttle, then like maybe you might see more Protoss players at the higher ranks and like more world champions and stuff. But you know, that's just a theory. I have an example of a situation. Can I describe it to confirm the argument? Sure. Zulki's dominance. I mean, you know, there's always outliers, right? Zulki is just outliers always trump everything. He's just really good. He's really found that like championship swagger, honestly. Washed players, yeah. I mean, like it's kind of the case, right? Like, you know, the Brood War pro scene right now is just so sparse, right? Like, is he truly dominant if Flash, you know, is going like, you know, on and off like this? You know, yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to take it away from Sulky, you know what I mean? It's like Michael Jordan retires from basketball to play baseball, and then like, you know, whoever won that year won, right? Like, you know, let's just say like Michael Jordan never came back, you know, then you would, you know, it's like, would Sulky be dominant? Maybe, maybe not, you know. Was it Hakeem? It was, right? Hakeem, like the Rockets, they won. Yeah. Get back on the Wizards, yeah. Hakeem won twice? I thought he won once. I know that. Yo, Zeke. What's up, man? The big Zeke. That's a talented player here. I love how Zeke just plays like Stormgate like 300 games and plays Age of Empires and all these games, and then he just comes back in BSL and just slaps everyone down. Except maybe the Chinese players, you know. Not even BSL, it's CSL, right? It's the China Star League. You know, who wants to play in China Star League? Nobody wants to play China Star League anymore. With a bunch of, you know, laggy, you know, playing from like 3 regions, and then you have, like, they can't even speak English, so they have like representative. It's like I can't even schedule games with them, you know? And they're like, oh, my representative can play with you at 3 a.m. at your time. Unfortunately, they can't play at any other time. I'm like, dude, like, how come I don't have an agent? You know what I mean? Like, I don't have an agent, you know, scheduling on my behalf, you know? Like, oh, by the way, it's going to be turn rate 12, you know? I mean, like, you know, I like, it's Bonnet as a secretary. 12 if you're yeah, it's just stupid, man. Like, it's, I mean, you know, I'm sure they're nice guys and everything. I don't want to flame the Chinese players, but it truly makes, in my opinion, it makes BSL just worse, you know? Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, they can't even watch Twitch. They can't even watch our games and like contribute because China just bans Twitch and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and like, we can't play in their tournaments. You know, it's just a nasty situation all around, man. They did donate 1.2k. Okay, I mean, like, yeah, I think they're nice. You know, I know Mihu like donated his first prize and stuff like that, but it's just, yeah, I didn't even watch the finals. Like, I don't care, dude. Like, I don't care about BSL, and I haven't cared for a long time. Like, it's just like, it's just too many, I don't know, it's just too much lag, too much scheduling issues. I'd rather have like rivalries and stuff with, you know, the European brethren and stuff, or like South Americans and things like that. But you can't even talk to the Chinese. Like, they're not even, like I said, I think they're nice people and stuff, but it's just language barriers and ecosystems are completely segmented and stuff. I think it's bad for the game, but whatever. Yeah, I like how Hawk is playing Gosu League, you know. Although I can't flame him because I do the same thing. Okay, all right, we've blabbered for a while. Actually, let me go to the restroom and then we'll go to the next game. Be right back. All right, let's do it. We're yapping a lot today. I'm not even playing that much. I played like 2 games or something, 3 games. I don't know. Max yap, max yap. 2-gate speed lot PVZ, but you can't win with it. Yeah, because it sucks. Get scammed, bro. I mean, that's why you get gas in Templar Archives and Archon follow-up. So my build order is basically you have to cross your fingers and hope that Zerg is not good. That's basically the point of the build, right? If they're good with mutas, then they're not gonna fall for it. Sometimes they'll fall for it though. It's hard. It's a good build. Like for example, you go for speed lots and then you can follow up with 2 Archons. So you can kind of like go 2 Archon speed lot if they go mutas, sunken, right? But the problem is, really good Zergs have perfect SimCity, so then you just, if that happens, you just cry, basically. But at the same time, like, that build is a very tempo-based build, right? Where you have to break the Zerg. You have to make the Zerg's head spin, right? Like, you have to use your speed zealots to make them nervous, throw them around, maybe throw one or 2 speed zealots into the main base, you know, kind of do like that deal, and then Archons come out and then they get nervous and then they might miss micro, and then when they're miss microing, they're not macroing, you know, like that's basically the concept of that kind of build, where you're basically trying to abuse lower level plays by premeditating, like with, you know, your movement. And it takes a really good Zerg, right? Yeah, create chaos. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I'm doing it in this educational stream. It's not, I wouldn't recommend it like at a higher level. I mean, it's still okay to use at a higher level every now and then, right? Just to pull it out in a series, like, you know, just because sometimes like in a series, people like Zergs, they get nervous, right? Like Zealots are coming, they're like, oh shoot. And then like an Archon pops, like, oh shoot, you know, like it's, you know, StarCraft's a hard game. They have to really, you know, focus to deal with it, right? But that build is the ultimate skill check, or like, you know, if I were to ever, you know, find the next great, you know, American Zerg player, you know, and I had to test that person, right? I would test them with that build, okay? I would test the Zerg player with that build, and if they can deal with it cleanly, then that person is like, then you know you got a winner, you know, then you know you got the next great foreigner Zerg, you know. But I haven't found that person yet, you know, because it truly tests your ability to know how to like seriously, like you have to learn how to stop, you know, like speed zealots. Like that's just a fact. Like you can't be an S rank Zerg and not be able to. Yeah, Hawk could deal with it very cleanly. Hawk would be like one of the best people to deal with it because he generally plays like very calm, you know. It's like yoga. Opportunity? No, I've been so mean to him lately, you know. I've killed Hawk with that build up. It definitely can smack Hawk down. But it's a build you just bring out like every now and then. Hawk does lose to it because it catches him off guard. But if you ever try to do it to somebody like Hawk like twice, it's not gonna work. Looks like a Rax expand. So we're gonna move our units forward. yeah, it would work well against people like PBJT and stuff. I mean, I do it to PBJT all the time. It's you know, it's hard for them to do anything about it. Like if you're like a CPLer and you just want to dominate Zergs in CPL, just do that build. Oh, I let them come in. This is a Rex expand, so I'm pretty behind here, unfortunately. A little sloppy. So we need to see what they're up to. Oh god, that's not very nice. It's Siege though. I don't know what they're actually doing. Push. Okay. Let's try to meet them out up here. If I can. Such a nasty push, man. Wow. That's... Yeah, I mean that happens. He just goes straight into nothing, no detection. But he got an SCV in my base, so to be fair, the SCV went inside my base and he saw that there was no detection. So basically, Rack CC is like super strong, and then if they go for that 3 factory push with no detection, it's like so gambly, but at the same time it works. So it was a good build by him. I gotta give it to him. My goons probably should have been sitting on his high ground to buy a little bit more time. I did feel like I reasonably sniped a couple of tanks at least, so at least that part was good. But if I were on his high ground, I probably could have bought a little bit more time, and maybe I could have held. Early Arbiter, no third base. You mean 2-base Arbiter? 2-base Arbiter, I mean, it's the same thing. 2-base Arbiter is actually worse off because you don't have as the gateways as fast. But that push is so strong. Also on that map, like Jade is not Jade. What is this map called? I don't even know what it's called. But this map is so strong for Terran and TVP. It's crazy. Because they have that high ground, so once you give up that high ground, it's basically over. You'll never get up that. Deja vu, yeah. It's crazy how strong the that high ground is. I mean, I'm sure maybe that's why I even did that push, but next season maps, they're fixing Deja Vu. Okay, is it better for Protoss? Because this map is like really bad. The Terrans could build so many turrets everywhere. There's not enough like rocks. If they added a bunch of rocks. Oh, I see, I see. There you go. Like that's that's the thing, you know. It's great when you have, you know, map makers who know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Foreign map makers would have added like a neutral disruption web, like, oh, you know, maybe this will help. Not all foreign map makers. Oh wait, this isn't PV. This is, oh shoot, this is not PvP. Oh, I didn't make a zealot. Okay, I'm gonna skip zealot. That's not good, dude. If he's going 2 gateways, I'm literally gonna scream out of like my ass. I'm gonna scream out of my ass. It's gonna be nasty. It's gonna be really nasty, guys. I thought this was PvT. If he's going zealots, I'm literally screwed, dude. You don't want to hear the ass scream. Oh, wait, what? Did he skip zealot too? Would you look at that? Where is his probe, by the way? I'm so confused. Oh. It's fine. I mean, skipping zealot isn't the end of the world. It's just, but you never really want to do that like blind though. So because he also doesn't have a zealot, like I might actually play slightly abusively here, where I'm gonna kind of camp the high ground, and sometimes you can do this on maps where there is like a high ground like that. Just in case, sometimes they send stuff in and like send like a random goon up, and then if that happens, I can catch them. And this also effectively gives me slight map control, right? And as long as I just move this back fast enough, if I see them, then I should be good. I can't imagine this is gonna be any sort of like push, right? Unless it's 3 gateway push, because then usually that would require very strange that this person is not even outside here. So one small trick you can do sometimes is just like hide your probe over here. And you can kind of like peek to see if there's a nexus at all. Make sure like there's no Dark Templars kind of squeezing by. And maybe, you know what, that would be crazy if there's like Dark Templars. Let's just be careful. Now I'm like, wait a minute, I should have. Okay, so I'm gonna do this, and then we're gonna go up the ramp and see what's up. Okay, I couldn't see what's up. Oh shoot, my hotkey got messed up. The going in for an all-in or something? 4 reavers. Okay, that's a lot. I mean, I have a reaver here. Can I hold this? Oh my god, dude! Oh. That was kind of sweaty. Looks like they're most likely going back. Oh my god, dude, this guy is... Guys, this guy's a champ, dude. Okay, that was a little bit rusty. Rusty there. I feel like, you know what? I feel like his high ground shots got a little lucky. I didn't think he'd kill the Reaver that fast, you know. Woo! Guys, dodged the ass screaming. That also, like, that push is infinitely hard to stop without the Zealot. The Zealot soaks up so much damage. It would have been an easy hold if I get if I had a Zealot there. And Zealot's DPS is also like super duper high. Okay, let's see if I can execute the Cope build. I don't know if Jumper's here. I'm playing some pretty good Zergs, honestly, so I have to kind of try hard a little bit, but we'll still try to try hard with the Cope, you know? Is this Fighting Spirit? No, this is Polyploid, right? Moonrise, up, dude. Is it true Moonrise the face of North America? Alright, let's get Pylon Search. Eleven Forge. Cannon Rush if Hatch first. Hatchery comes down at about 145-ish. Send that probe down just in case we're up against some sort of crazy... Oh, there it is. And we go on a cannon rush, baby! I saw Tasteless execute the cannon rush last night after I coached him on it. Oh my god, really? Okay, that wasn't supposed to happen, but... Okay, I can do that at least. I trapped my own worker, but I mean... I could do this. Obviously made another hatchery somewhere else, maybe another one. Let's just check to see the gas, because if there's gas, then that can be a little bit problematic sometimes. Oh no! Okay, it's okay. We'll send this out. Also put one probe down here just for safety. And we'll try to scout to see what's going on. But basically what we're just trying to do is just like confirm that our opponent is not... I'll actually bring 2 probes down because theoretically they, you know, could be going for like an all-in or something. So we just want to make sure we're not, you know, just over skimping too much. Yeah. Because then that could bust. Basically, we just need to like make sure. Okay, there's gas layer on the way. Question then is, what is our opponent doing? Okay. Do they have another expansion somewhere? I would like to see 12 o'clock. Yep, they do. Alright, so I'm gonna do the cope build. Teching. My cope build should be very good because they're so spread thin, right? Nobody really does a lurker contain, honestly. I mean, it doesn't... I'm fine against lurker contains. So again, like prioritizing workers and zealots are really good here. No, they can't really come back, but I mean, Zerg is good, so I mean, like, of course you could throw, but I mean, like, theoretically they should not be able to come back in this situation. I mean, they're really behind, yeah, but is it possible? Yes. Because Zerg. Right? Because Zerg. Oh. Oh, I should have more going. Let's get Templar Archives. And so the key point of this build is you follow this up with Archons, if you can, and if not, then you just go Dark Archons instead. We can go ahead and get a cannon. Cannon over here as well. And then you follow this up with 2 Templars, and then we'll go straight for 12 o'clock. And then behind it, we can make, you know, Storm. Let's make another cannon just in case they go Mira. Here's the Mira. And throw this over here. Create chaos! Oh, that's not chaotic. And while you're creating chaos, you basically make a bunch of stuff. And because they're so spread thin over there, they honestly, like, will have a really hard time blocking Archon follow-ups here. Right? Because, like, how are they going to block all this, right? See, this is where they start to, like, panic. You can make Dark Archons behind us. So they can opt to just go for a counter here, I guess, but I mean, that's fine. But at what cost? Look how many pylons you have to make. I mean, sunken colonies, right? Like, you just keep ramming it over and over. And what, how are they gonna block 12 now, right? Oh, with that. Let's not throw. I have Maelstrom now? Okay. So there's 0% chance they could block this. Unless they have lurkers right now. The amount of tempo we have is really crazy. Yo, Tasteless, stop, dude. You stop Hydra Breast with this too. It's yeah, you defend it easier because you have more zealots than if you go Stargate. So it is you are in an advantaged situation from a unit perspective, but because you don't have a Corsair, you're in a disadvantaged position, right? So that's why this is like a pretty copy build. Once the Zerg start getting really good, then it stops getting good, because the way the Zerg would counter it is basically the Protoss player can never know when, you know, like if they're making more Hydras or not, right? So they could be making Hydras non-stop, but then only show like 12, right? But theoretically, you have more units and your speed zealots come out really, really fast and stuff. So how do you deal with mutas? You just pray that they're not that good, which, like in that game, because this build is basically all about tempo, right? And you know, like you hope that they freak out. You like kind of just like throw a bunch of zealots around the map, and then it's different bases and stuff like that, you know. And it just makes things hectic, right? And you have archons, right? And then you follow up with dark archon, right? So eventually the mutas are countered with dark archon, but it just basically Temu light. Yeah, but once the Zerg gets good enough to not panic, then they have perfect Sim City, they have excellent muta control, they're on top of their builds, then the build starts getting no good. And then another high level Zerg move is to go for a giant mutastab counter, because Protoss doesn't really have vision. So Protoss can move out for a push, and then Zerg can just stay on 3 base, mass sunken colonies, and then Zerg counterattacks the main with like 12, 20 mutas or something like that. And since the Dark Archon can't be in 2 places at once, you know, that's like something Hawk would do. I just do 1 Forge, because basically, basically the general theory in PvZ is you go 1 Forge if you want to play aggressive, like tempo-based styles, right? 2 Forges effectively slows your army down. So in that, because you're trying to play really, really aggressive and make things hectic and drag your opponent into the mud, you certainly don't want 2 Forges. Yeah, I get 2. I don't remember if I got weapons, but I don't think it matters that much. But yeah, you should probably get armor, just because you want to you know, mow them down fast, whereas weapon is superior against like hive base plays, which is pretty uncommon these days. So I wouldn't. Yeah, I would go armor. Armor, and then if they're going for hive, then I get weapons. I mean, weapon, armor, weapon. So one of the most important concepts in PvZ in general, though, is like, you have to think of PvZ as like selecting your transformer, so to speak, right? You can either choose the aggressive, agile transformer, right? Or you can choose like a middling transformer, or you can choose like a really slow and bulky transformer, right? And that's the most important thing in PvZ. Based on the situation, you have to select the right transformer, right? And this is in like, you know, the slow and bulky transformer is kind of like double upgrades, you know, lots of high Templars, right? Lots of goons. You move very slowly. You kind of basically move as though you have a maxed out mech army, right? Because you have so many High Templars, you're babysitting your High Templars, you're storming really well, right? And that's really good if you're behind, if you're up against the Lurker Contain, right? Basically, if you're just going out for like the knockout blow, situations where you have to do that, ideally you don't want to be playing that kind of style though. That's like a fallback, right? If you're ahead, you've got Zerg on the back foot, right? Then you want to play tempo-based style, so you kind of choose like the light, like the fast, aggressive, you know, transformer, so to speak. And so you would achieve that by going for something like hold on. You would reduce your High Templar count, right? You would go one forge, right? That's kind of like the general adjustments that you would make in order to kind of play that, and you move out fast. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You just move out fast and stuff. Like you move out immediately as your goons and observers come out, right? And like, yeah, that honestly, I feel like my PvZ has gotten so much better because of kind of understanding that transformer analogy and also getting good at gate expand. That was like the turning point for my PvT or PvZ. I'm sorry. Oh no. Unfortunately, my server is kind of late. But because we were able to poke him away like that, we were able to make this Nexus on time. Again, 6-goon Nexus. I like to move back here because if they're going for speed vultures, then I would be in a lot of trouble. Because we made our Nexus, we're going to make our 4 gateways. 4 gateways gives us insurance to not die. Push. Yeah, you have to get the transform movie. That's basically it, dude. Yo, remaps up, dude. Get ignored, bro. Read what text? Oh. Okay. Look at that. This guy truly is like a Temu light, man. Dang it. Move down to play barracks. Why would I play barracks, dude? I'm losing to Temu light. I'll play Temu barracks. Why would I play barracks, dude? I'll play Temu barracks, man. Nah, he did a good move. It's like a 3 tank push at my 3rd. Got me out of position and stuff. And I also micro ported. Tao Bao, dude. Yeah, those 3 tank pushes can be deadly. Especially when you don't like know where they're going. And that's kind of the downside of like expanding that fast, and it's hard to deal with. But I could have blocked it. My micro is atrocious though. I mean, that's what modern PvT honestly is. Like, honestly, this is why this 23 Nexus build that I'm showing right now is honestly it's a solid build, but it's not great, you know. Primarily because like Terran has all these openers these days that are really aggressive, and you know, it's just frustrating to deal with. That's why I switched my PvT style to be a lot more aggressive as well, like pylon searches, you know, like zealot openers, right? Because you wanna kind of piss them off a little bit. But 23 Nexus is basically like 0 harass. You don't even probe scout. You don't even bother them. So it's a good build, but at the same time, like all these hip TikTok builds, you know, like 1 tank push, 2 tank push, all this kind of like technical stuff these days that you see from Terrans make it difficult because they kind of punish these kinds of like greedy openers. Not that they counter them, but they really keep Protoss on their toes. Like there, you know what I mean? Like I was playing my build pretty well. You know, there's no way for me to know that they're actually doing that, right? Based on the build that I'm playing. I had my Dragoons back because I have to be concerned about a dropship for vultures at 6:30. But if I'm back there, then I can't gather my goons to get in position, so it forces me into difficult situations, which is why, you know, these pushes are really good. And that's also why Brood War is just like such an insane game, right? Like back in the day, they never really did these kinds of, but there was like a 3 tank push. There were like very specific design, like very specific pushes, but there weren't all these different kinds of variants where Terrans basically figured out. They're like, oh, we don't need to, we can make a minor adjustment, make Marines here, and then go out with 1 tank or 2 tanks with a Vulture, and then basically, back in the day, you would look at that and you're like, who the hell would do that? That's crazy. These people are crazy, right? But what you could do is make, you could just make the, what am I trying to say here? Make a mine and then back up, right? Like just because you're pushing, it doesn't mean that you actually have to like keep pushing, right? Like, which is genius, right? And that's kind of the beauty of Brood War, where they're like, they really figured out that you can just push to check and then back up if they're honest, you know? It's same thing with like gate expand and all these things, and that's why Brood War is such a goated game, right? There's so much depth to strategy in the most basic things, like. Dude, there's in the first 3 minutes of the game, there's just so much going on. It's so crazy, and like I've been playing this game for a long time, and like I know a lot of things, but I don't even scrape the surface of what all the pros know. It's crazy. Because the SCV came so fast, we should know that our opponent has gone for. I mean, sorry. They should be adjacent to us. I've never seen a cross scout. I guess it's possible, but I guess anything's possible on that, right? Oh no, he juked me out. Whew. I'm glad I dealt with that cleanly. Losing that first vulture for them is actually really bad as well, because now they can't lay mines to stop my thing. Also, I realized positional. You know, I just realized something. When you're cross spawns like that, I don't think I should. I don't think I should even go for that build where I go so fast into that third nexus there, because then they have like that position, so to speak, right? Maybe that's what they're punishing, actually. Not, come to think of it, right? Because in this situation, they can't go to my third base. They have to swing all the way around there, right? So like, I'm sure one of the big reasons for which they do what they do is because like they're utilizing like positional advantages. There it is again, dude. These TikTok, they're like TikTok Terrans, man. And the thing is, you gotta be careful, because with these kinds of builds, they might feint coming out like this, and then just run by with goons, right? Now that we're actually safe from our build this time, we can go ahead and focus on the macro. Everything looks pretty safe and secure. You can also just go Citadel. I'll just make the Citadel over there. Sometimes it's nice to... Ooh, no, that's not safe. Going for timing. Of course they are. Throw down gateways. And I'm not even gonna mind that gas. I don't think I really need it. Throw down the gateways. Get a shuttle. Focus on macro, right? Supply blocked. He might just back up. Yeah. I do wonder if I could still like bust this though. Nah, let's not. Go ahead and make our third base. Just be careful in general. Start transferring some stuff. Make some more gateways.